Hello, welcome to Mission 919, my channel devoted to stories and narratives of African achievement, well-being, and prosperity. And today I want to talk about three stories related to Ethiopia. The first one is Travel and Leisure magazine published a list of 50 destinations to visit in the year 2020, and number one on the list was Addis Ababa, and they highlighted the tripling of the capacity of the airport at Addis Ababa Bole Airport. They also mentioned the opening of a 19th century palace called Menelik Palace for tourism in the coming year, and the building of a public garden for people to also visit while they're visiting the palace. And then also they mentioned the grand opening in March of the Zoma Museum, which is a museum that will be devoted to art and architecture. So, for a magazine like Travel and Leisure to pick Addis Ababa as their number one destination of 2020, I think is worthy of note and definitely a departure from the past. Okay, the second story is the beginning of weekly, or I think three times a week, or thrice weekly flights from Houston to Addis Ababa via, I want to say Lomé, in West Africa, Lomé, Togo. This is interesting because, first of all, it shows the growing connections between the Ethiopian community in that part of the country and the homeland, Addis Ababa. It also probably shows interest traveling from Texas and the oil industry there to the oil industry in West Africa. So also, I think it's important because it shows that the brand, the brand power, the condition of the brand, Ethiopian Airlines, which has been considered to be the best airline on the African continent for several years, has not been tarnished, or has not been significantly tarnished as a result of the crash of the 737. That Boeing rightly is taking the brunt of the fall for that, and Ethiopian Airlines has remained unscathed or largely unscathed. So that's, I think, an example. This opening of this flight is evidence of that. And then the third is Ethiopia launched a satellite. It's basically a weather-based information satellite. The first satellite that it has launched now from the Entoto Observatory and Research Center, which is north of the capital. And this shows to some extent it's symbolic, because the launch itself actually took place in China, and most of the money for the launch and satellite also came from China. But it does represent a beginning for Ethiopia to be in space. They intend to put another satellite up, I believe, next year, geared toward broadcasting. This launch also was the 8th launch of a satellite by an African country this year, which is a record. There are 41 African satellites from 11 different countries and 3 joint ventures in space right now. And beginning in 1998, when Egypt launched its first one. So, 1998 to 2019 is 21 years, so 41 satellites, roughly 2 a year, and this year there were 8. So it does show expansion, and hopefully this is the beginning of more and more launches, and hopefully the clock is ticking on when the first launch will actually leave from African soil, and an African-made rocket. The Ethiopians are building a technology infrastructure through this process. They also have an observatory at the same place that, well, not where the launch took place, but where the launch was observed by the officials, the Entoto Observatory and Research Center. So, and they're thinking of building another astronomical observatory in Lalibela, in the north of the country, in Tigray province, I think. So all of that is quite interesting on a symbolic level, and also in terms of building up building up the expertise, the experience and expertise, and gathering eventually the technical skills to have an indigenous satellite and rocket industry in Ethiopia and in other countries on the continent. So I just wanted to share those events with you. The fact that they all happened in the same week, I think, is also important. So in the name of the ancestors and the unborn, who are the same, Ashe, 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 please share, like, and subscribe, and we will see you soon.